You're listening to the Behind Ears podcast, because everybody does Disney differently. The Behind Ears podcast crew would like to thank the following sponsors for their generous support. Hey everybody, it's Mr. Chris, and I got to tell you about Expedition Roasters. Listen, I'm a pretty big coffee drinker, just like a lot of you are, but these people have got coffee right. Their coffees are made from selectively sourced premium and specialty grade Arabica beans. They provide the absolute best flavor and aroma, and select roast even come directly from a single estate farm for a truly perfect cup that is never bitter. They've got awesome Disney-inspired flavors such as Roundhouse Roast, Route 66, Skipper's Brew, Dark Side Roast, Redhead Rum, and one of my favorites, Bobsledder's Brew. Listen, if you want to have the taste of Disney in every cup, give them a try today. ExpeditionRoasters.com, and Behind the Ears podcast listeners gets an extra 20% off your first order by using the coupon code EARS20. That's right, EARS20. And you can find them over at ExpeditionRoasters.com. Brew your happy place. If you have a little one and you're going to Walt Disney World, you're going to need a stroller. I'll tell you what, KingdomStrollers.com is the place where you want to look into. I'll tell you, I've destroyed my fair share of strollers while at Walt Disney World, and those things are not cheap. But getting something from KingdomStrollers.com, they'll be able to help you pick out the perfect stroller for you. And the nice part is that because they're a Disney preferred provider, they'll be able to drop it off and pick it up right from your Disney resort at no extra charge. So if you don't want to necessarily destroy your stroller in the process and you want to have a great Disney vacation with your little one, contact KingdomStrollers.com and they'll set you right up. That's KingdomStrollers.com.
Welcome back, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to another episode. I know I messed up the word tune. Whatever. You know what? We're just going to keep rolling. Okay, we're not going to start this over. You're muted, by the way. He's listening to us.
I know. I'm chuckling. I was waiting, but I'm so glad we're back and we're toned in.
we're all toned up. Let's do this. I'm Uncle Danny, the one that messed up. Mr. Chris is the one laughing at me as time goes on. Sir, how was your Memorial Day, and how was your first day back at work?
Oh, Memorial Day weekend was the hottest on record for Chicago. And of course, I did a lot of work around the house. It wouldn't be a holiday weekend if it did not include working on somebody's car, of course. And, had to replace a spring of all things on my mother-in-law's car that was cracked. So I'm like, yeah, that was fun. PHUN fun. It just also
nice
goes to
family.
I know. It just also goes to show that before you go on that long Walt Disney trip, get your car inspected. If you don't do it yourself, pay $50 to take it to an independent good mechanic. Have them do it. That's Mr. Chris's car care tip of the day.
I got a tip for you.
Yeah, what's that?
Don't play with matches, kids. Oh, that's what my dad always would tell me.
Hey,
don't play with matches.
You could always use some practical advice these days.
Don't grow corn in October.
But
that one's for tomorrow.
Don't grow corn in October.
You don't plant corn in October. That's when it gets picked. Bad business. It'd probably die. I'm not a farmer, but
what if you live in a state that's like always warm?
Well, now you're just speaking logic, and I don't know what that is. But let's get through that nonsense. So Chris approached me today and said, I've got a great idea. We're going to play a little Monday morning quarterback, as Chris would use the terminology, armchair Imagineer. I like it. There's a ring to it that is copyright pending. Please do not steal it, because there's no copyright for it. What we're going to do is, we've always had the topic. We've touched on this in the past in odd ways, but usually because we would just go into a ramble about it. And what we're going to do is we're just going to do, if you were an Imagineer and no money was an issue, no zoning codes, nothing. They came to you and said, hey, you, talking to you, I want you to build me a hotel. What would you do? And that's basically what the show's going to be about. So as me and Chris go on, if you want to pipe in and let us know, try to keep your comments a little bit smaller so I can throw them up on the screen. Don't go into like the 7, paragraph sentence on the type you have.
Don't cover us all up.
Just go into a brief overlay of what you think you would like. And, if you want to touch on anything that Chris and myself talk about, let us know. Keep sharing the show. Thanks for the support. Chris, you came up with the idea. I'll pass the baton unless you're not ready. You seem ready.
Yeah, I'm going to start. And this probably won't be an entire description in one gigantic, movement here. This is, I think you and I are going to probably, I saw that, Chris. Thank you. No, I didn't. Let me just move that out of the way.
There you go.
For those listening to the podcast, one of our viewers, Chris, is still harassing me that I didn't put my fire smoke alarm detector up in my office yet again. I'm really glad that our viewers really care about us. Anyway, so first off, this hotel will have all smoke detectors in the rooms, 2 of them in each room. Now,
just in case one goes.
So here's the deal. I've been thinking about this for a bit, and the interesting part is that there's a lot of different resorts at Walt Disney World, and we all know that. I mean, that's kind of a keen grasp of the obvious. But we always have our favorite types of things. And the reason why I brought this up was I got the idea because, the up-and-coming Star Wars themed hotel is going to be one of those hotels that is going to be mega. That's all you can describe it as, mega. No matter what category, it's going to be mega. And the interesting part to it is that, it's going to have it's supposed to be all immersive, and it's going to be really epic, and it's going to be probably very expensive. And I mean, it is going to be, filled with intellectual property. It's going to be filled with brand new technologies and so on. I'm not going to go that far, to be honest with you, because the reason why I say that is because there's a lot of people that are saying, hey, we still need affordable or more affordable places to stay, and also places that allow larger families. So here's the deal. You have some of the values. You've got, all-star music, as well as, art of animation that have family suites. You have DVC resorts, which are considered deluxe hotels. You really don't have a moderate that has a few extra amenities that also can sleep a family of 6 comfortably. And that's where I'm going to go. We're going to start off with, I want a themed hotel that's going to be of a moderate to upper moderate price range that will have options for, more moderate sized rooms, or moderate priced rooms, but also have a section of set aside for suites, or at least 2 rooms. I mean, you think suites, you think all different amenities and stuff like that. At least a place where you can have 2 bedrooms of some sort, be able to sleep 6. And that's where I'm going to start. And so that's my basis. What do you think your basis of your hotel would be?
Okay, so you basically you just started with like rooms and what you're offering. You didn't go with theming or anything.
I didn't start with the theming, and I just thought, let's go ahead and just build that foundation, pun intended, of the hotel itself.
Now this is probably not make a lot of people very unhappy. I would go with a tier style system inside the hotel.
Ooh,
so you're basically, you're going to have a section of floors that are going to be standard studios you're going to be your value price. Mm-hmm. Maybe they face a parking lot or a wooded area, or depending on where you put this hotel. Mm-hmm. Second one up, you're going to get a larger room. you're going to get, instead of full-size beds, you're going to get 2 queens beds, or one king. And this is the section where you start to get a very small, I'm not going to call it a veranda, but a very small balcony with maybe partial views to something nice. And then the top part is going to be your family suites of, similar to, maybe it's got 1 bed in a room, and then it has like a little sofa bed. Then you can, next floor up, you have 2 beds and 2, you could have like 4 different beds in the room. And then to the top, or, to the upper echelon, then you're talking about presidential suites, and you're starting to go bigger with huge wraparound verandas with park views, and then 2 top floors of the almighty club level to make all the other club levels just seem silly.
That's, you know what, Danny, that's an interesting concept. And I mean, the thing of it is that there's a lot of hotels, outside of Disney that not necessarily have exactly that tiered in the sense of a floor designated, but they do have a lot of different style of rooms of different price points throughout its building or buildings.
Well, it's like we've all been in the hotels where you need that special key card for your room to even press the button in the elevator. And that's how this would be. Your key can only get you to your floor. So if I'm paying buco money for the presidential suite, I don't need, Bobby and Suzanne's 7 kids with their floaties on running through my floor, unless they were staying there. Your key can only get you into your floor. And yes, it might be a logistical nightmare at times, but at the same time, I've stayed in plenty of hotels where that's exactly how it is. When I stayed over by the Orlando Convention Center in February at one of the Rosens, I stayed club level, and your key card had to be inserted to get to the floor.
Yeah, I totally get it. I totally get it. So let's now that we've got our foundation set up for our hotels, let's talk a little bit about theming. This one's a little bit harder to do because I think everybody has their idea of what their perfect theme is. And usually when you think of theme, you think of some sort of Disney character that is involved. A lot of times we think of, you think of, when you think of like art of animation, you think of The Little Mermaid, you think of The Lion King, you think of Cars, you think of all these other things. And also partially with, Pop Century, you think of, other types of theming that they have snuck in there. All-star music, you listen to Disney Channel, stars type of thing. So, I don't necessarily have a theme that's tied to a specific Disney character. However, what I would like to see is I would like to see something that is along the lines of not quite the Polynesian in the sense of tropicalness, but I want to see something that's something of a mix between the Caribbean beach resort and Coronado. And let me kind of elaborate on that, because that's not necessarily clear. I think the Caribbean beach resort is very bright. It's very colorful. It's very Caribbean. You think Nemo, you think of the seas, you think of the Bahamas, you think of all those things. Coronado Springs, is also very deeply, themed in of itself, but it's also a little more subdued. It's a little more business. It's a little more, focuses more on comfort and the clean lines and things like that. So I'm also kind of thinking of something along the same thing, kind of like almost like a miniature Polynesian, but not something to cheapen the Polynesian. If something maybe it's a little more Hawaiian than Polynesian, if you kind of catch my drift.
I see where you're going with that.
Okay. I mean, it's again,
there is a distinct there. If you're native to those areas, there is a very distinct for the average goer. You might be like, hey, I don't see the difference between those two, but they're definitely, their heritages are different.
Exactly. And it's a little more different in the sense of the color scheme, the decorum, maybe the music that's being played in the background. Maybe it's the food that's also, depicted in the food court and restaurants. And notice I always said food court and restaurants, because I don't want to necessarily make this your typical moderate where you have a food court and then you have maybe a nice restaurant in there as well. I want to make sure you have a couple different options, because I don't expect this to be a small hotel. I would like to see a larger sized hotel with, the options that I mentioned earlier. They have plenty of options made available, but not necessarily a lot of separate, a lot of little separate buildings. I want to see fewer larger buildings to keep things together. So you're not always have to kind of scramble to figure out which building. I'm in building 427. No, it's, I want to keep it clean, so that's the other thing. So that's the theming on it. But still keeping it a moderate theme.
So someone did ask a question, is there going to be different, like, can anybody in my hotel use any of the amenities? And no, there will be certain things that everybody can use, but there's going to be certain things that are designated for the more money you spend. It's just, hey, listen, guys, it's the way the world works. The more money you spend, the more amenities you get. It's good root beer. All right, so theming. It's a little dark, literally. I'm gonna go with the bottom floors, which are going to be your value sections, are going to be more, I'm not going to say cartoonish, but you're going to see more of the Ursulas and, Disney character theming down below. And yes, if you haven't figured this out yet, this is going to be a haunted theme. Ooh. So the value is going to be more of your villain Disney characters. And they don't, anything that's a darker, not even a villain, just a darker character, like Darkwing Duck. Okay. He'll make an appearance. Yeah, Ursula and the haunted aspects and like the hitchhiking ghosts and everything, those are your centralized things, but you might see like little splashes of anybody who's plays around in the dark, but it's not really considered a villain. Okay. So like you may also include other characters that may be a little more meany, yes,
like
correct.
like a Pete,
that would be great.
Like that. Yes. All the antagonists. Okay.
For the moderate section, which is your next step up, that's going to be more of your Nightmare Before Christmas meshed with your Haunted Mansion. So once again, you're keeping with the dark theme.
Okay, more purposeful, targeted theme though.
Yes, that one is going to be just specifically those two. We're talking big money, electronics, and there's going to be a lot of money spent on this floor to make, maybe illusions happen on the walls and things along that nature.
Okay.
And then for your big money customers, your deluxe customers, it's going to be strictly Tower of Terror.
Now, so I can see some people are like, well, Tower of Terror. Think about the Tower of Terror and the timeline that it was in. That was the creme de la creme that stayed at the Hollywood Tower Hotel. I mean, that was, Hollywood's up and coming. That was a big deal. And you can definitely plus that into a modern twist, but yet still keep that kind of decorum. That would be a destination hotel party.
Yeah. And they don't have to be the creepy people, the creepy cast members you see on Tower of Terror there is now, because I don't think you want to scare away. You don't want it to be too scary because you still want families to be able to come to this.
Sure.
But definitely deep mahogany woods on this floor. And everything's going to be vintage on this floor. You might need to call, like, all the rooms are going to be old school rotary phones. But I'm talking old school rotary phones. Like, so you're gonna have to, if anybody's young and doesn't know how to use a rotary phone, you're gonna have to watch some YouTube videos.
Operator, give me room service.
It's just gonna be very classic. There will be a little bit of a haunted theme to it, because what's Tower of Terror when, but with the theming of Tower of Terror, okay, so each floor is going to have different times of the year that you're really going to want to stay there. Like the Tower Terror, you're really going to want to stay on a Friday the 13th. Those are going to be the times you really want to stay there. You know, Nightmare Before Christmas on the moderate level is going to bump during Christmas time. Halloween on that floor is going to go crazy for Haunted Mansion. And then obviously the lower floor, you work something out and you make it worthwhile. I know you touched on restaurants real quick, so I'll touch on restaurants real quick. You always have to have your family-style cafeteria. It's a huge moneymaker. You need to have it. But I would like a now, okay, not Disney-related at all. So bear with me here. But I would like a grand dinner hall like the Titanic.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so, you know, and I mean, you're just talking fine dining, you know, almost a mix of a yachtsman meets a Le Cellier.
Okay, and maybe even if you're going to go with that theme, you're going to hit a little bit more Victoria and Albert almost rendition with the level of classiness, maybe?
Just a step below it.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to price everybody out of it.
Well, I'm thinking to myself, you don't have to price it the same, but at least have, you know, a white tablecloth, some real plates.
Oh, yes,
you know,
yes.
Not quite as
and
modern.
There's going to be a dress code for this.
Yeah, not quite as modern as Cali Grill, but obviously not quite as exquisite and opulent as Victoria and Albert's. And I mean that.
Yeah, and I think there's that happy medium. You know, and what else did you cover when you did yours? You just did your theming and your restaurants, right?
Yeah, and you know, going back to the whole restaurant idea, I mean, the fact of the matter is that I would love to have, again, a really good food court. And I say a food court for a moderate because, you know, I would expect this to be a relatively large hotel. And some of the best food courts not only have your usual, you know, burgers, chicken nuggets, that, you know, good old comfort food for kids and adults, but I would love to take a book. I like to take a page out of the book of what they've done over at the Mara over at Animal Kingdom Lodge, which I love that place. The thing is that you can get some really good themed eats over there at the same time as you can get anything else. I just think it's really, really good, and you can actually enjoy some good Hawaiian type of cuisine that is authentic. I mean, it may be, you know, some really good Hawaiian, you know, pulled pork. It can be, you know, get yourself some good pineapple. And I would say let it serve Dole Whips, darn it. I just think that, you know, you have to have that. I just think that makes a lot of sense. But at the same time, you know, you also have a couple good sit-down restaurants, very much like the idea, like what you're talking about. Have one that's more of a casual family-style restaurant, but serves a little bit more of the Hawaiian fare. And then have one that's actually a place that you can actually sit down and enjoy, you know, more than one course of a meal. You know, that you're going to get an appetizer. You're going to have, you know, a little bit more full service type of place. I'm gonna put it to you this way. One of the best restaurants I ever had was Shutters over at Caribbean Beach. And it was really, really good. And it was very well themed for the Caribbean flair. I would like to see something like that with a Hawaiian flair. And I think that you can do that relatively easy. Seriously, to this day, one of the best meals I've ever had there. Very memorable. And I try to make points of going back, and I haven't gone back there in a while. I haven't been back since they've actually renovated that entire food court area.
Okay, I got something ready.
Okay, go for it.
So when you step outside, you have to have a family-friendly pool area. Am I right? You always need to.
I totally agree.
I'm going to rip off a little bit from beach and yacht. I want to bring in the pirate theme because pirates can be dark. It can be scary.
Okay, sure.
So have, like, you know, basically the same idea of a beach ship with, a slide coming down, and have afternoon dance parties with the pirates. Maybe at night do a little show with the kids and everything like that. The whole pool sand, have a nice relaxation area. Okay. And that'll be the main pool. But if you stay at the deluxe on the roof of the hotel, we're going with a what's the name? I wrote it down too. What's the pool where the infinity pool?
Yeah, where it kind of like constantly has a good current to it where you can constantly just swim in it.
No, the infinity, like maybe I'm thinking the wrong word.
Oh, it's zero entry
can't
pool?
see the edge.
Zero entry pool.
No. Like when you're in the pool, it just kind of
goes over,
drops. Okay. Yeah, and you have no idea where the pool ends, but obviously it's
kind of like a glass side where you can see right through.
Yes,
I know where you're talking. Very, very Hollywood style.
Yes, and you see where I'm going. I'm going super bougie up here. You're having butlers in tuxedos. Maybe the girls are wearing an old school style because they have to be covered up in this day and age because of everything that goes on in Disney. But the old school dancers, like from like the Rockettes, something along the lines of that. Maybe wearing like all gold, and they'll be serving you drinks. Once again, stick with that mahogany wood on the outside.
Very rich.
Some olds. What?
Very rich. I can just
very rich.
I think mahogany,
very, like bourbons and
yeah,
and then have a nice section. Somehow figure out a way to bring it away from the pool because there will be kids, but have a nice cigar and bourbon, like little grassy spot to hang out. All on the roof, and I'm talking 360 views. Nothing's obstructing you.
You know what, dude? That's nice. That is actually really sweet. I could see that where you have, you sit back, have a cigar in one hand, a glass of 30-year-old in the other. Very small glass, a 30-year-old in the other.
Yeah,
very. Wow, I can really see that. That would actually be really cool, But yeah, it would have to be one of those cases where, it does separate it. It does.
Yeah, it has to be a nice separation. But there's plenty of room. It's a big hotel. Got plenty of space up there.
Because I mean, I could also see where this would be a very big price differential between, the value style versus, the presidential suite style. I mean, you're talking going from, $200 a night to,
$800, $900, maybe
$1,000. I was gonna say $850, $950 a night, to, really make that.
But the nice thing is yes, you might not get some of those amenities because you can't afford it. And listen, I can't afford everything. I couldn't afford to stay in my own hotel, but what you're getting out of this hotel is pure location. Even at a value, it'll be the closest anywhere.
I was gonna say we never talked about where on property would we put this. So I'll pose that question to you first. Where geographically would your particular hotel be located?
I'm torn because part of me wants to keep it by MGM, more Hollywood themed hotel. It seems like
I can understand.
I would prefer to keep it over there. But also with the haunted stuff, I kind of would love for it to be close to Magic Kingdom. So maybe you can somehow incorporate Mickey's Not So Scary with staying here. But I think at the end of the day, I'd probably put it somewhere over by MGM. I'm trying to think where, though. Because I don't want it anywhere near the parking lot. And that's a big parking lot. I don't know. Let me think about it. Pass it to you.
See, I thought about this a little bit too, and my thought process is that I would probably put this somewhat closer over by where Animal Kingdom is. Okay. Just because if you think about it, Animal Kingdom is kind of out there by itself, and it's for good reason, to be honest with you. And I may have to retract that particular statement just because of maybe there's some other logistics to it that I don't understand. But I think it would be kind of interesting to fill in some of those gaps over there. But at the same time, there was always some talk about whether or not I couldn't put it over, like, say, near the Contemporary or near the Polynesian for obvious reasons. But I would say, there could be some other spots over by where, where the Best Friends Kennel is right now, which is like pretty much right across from Port Orleans Riverside.
Yes.
Somewhat over there, over in that area. But again, I'm kind of spitballing it geographically, but it would be by other moderate hotels.
I have a serious question.
What's that?
I don't off the beaten track.
Mm-hmm.
Is the show building still up for the old backlot tour?
No, I don't think so. That's
because I'm on Google Maps right now, and it says from 2018. And when you scroll down, you could see the old oil tankers still in like the half conch shell.
I wouldn't believe that that's there, because that whole area is where Toy Story Land kind of took over. And if let's put it this way, if it's still there, it won't be there for long. But I don't
know what? This picture's got to be old, because it's got still the old stage set for Lights Motor Action right next to it as well.
That's obviously has to be an old picture, even if it was. That's been gone for almost a year now, if you think about it.
Yeah, basically where Toy Story is, the road that runs around the back of it is Cypress, and then World Drive is behind it. There is a lot of wooded area in between Disney's Blizzard Beach and Coronado Springs, where you could easily put this monstrosity of a hotel.
Monster. You know what? I will say this, kind of while we're pausing here for a minute. I like Nicole's comment. She's like, not a full hotel, but I want pod hotels for naps in each park, like they have in Japan. Rented for a couple hours, crawl in, take a nap, rest your feet, have AC.
I don't know. That just creeps me out a little bit. How often are they changing those sheets? You don't, on a hot summer day, you don't want me crawling in that bed before you crawl in. That'd be a lot of sheets.
The funny part about it is that you could say the next best thing, at least, is at Epcot for DVC members, where they have the lounge.
Put my hotel on Discovery Island.
That, Enrique.
Exclusive.
That is.
Can't even park here.
Yeah, that is. I like that idea. That idea is really, really cool. That is really cool. I like that idea. Mm-hmm.
Everybody's telling me it's all gone. So, okay. So, for some reason, Google Maps lied to me. Christine said, so since we're talking about what would you do, I was thinking earlier, if you could choose any movie, be it Disney or not, to make another world, what movie would it be? Mine would be Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. We'll answer that one later, because I know Chris had more to say.
Oh yeah, because I still think there's other things to go with this. To kind of add to this, and this will probably be the last portion of this, and we'll do some Q&A, because I'd love to see some of the ideas that our listeners have. So here are some things that I would like, because I didn't talk about pools yet. I would like the big old family pool, and I a nice 0 entry pool with maybe a waterfall, maybe a nice slide. But it's got to be big. It's got to be a big pool, and have, definitely everything from, some cool Hawaiian music, having kids try to do hula dance contests as a part of their, dance parties and stuff like that they've got going on. But also when you go over and you're over at the, some quiet pools, they may be quiet, but pipe in some music, have some available, food services at those. Like Saratoga Springs actually has, I think, the most food service at pools ratio that I've seen in a lot of different places. And I think that's great, because sometimes you don't want to have to travel all the way to the main pool. Sometimes the main pool is really busy, but sometimes you just want to be at a slightly smaller, a little more quaint pool, but you don't want to have to walk to get yourself a, poolside snack. So that's my whole take. You have plenty of pools that are available, plenty of food outside, and just a way to be able to enjoy it. But here's the other thing. For the rooms themselves, I do like the idea of, You can have, seating for six, sleeping for six. You can make it with 2 queen beds and a pull-out sofa. You can also add in one of those sleeper chairs to go 7 if you can. Put 2 bathrooms in there as well. Put 2 sinks in there. Put a slightly larger fridge than a dorm size fridge. Just a little bit extra. And also at the same time, here's the one thing I think that Disney needs to start doing. They don't advertise it as something that you can do, but have an easier way for guests to bring in like a Fire Stick and plug it in and be able to use some of their own programming in their Fire Sticks. And people are like, well, we're not there to watch TV at Disney. You know what? Sometimes you just want to watch something as you fall asleep. Or sometimes you just want to watch it, put on a, bunch of cartoons or something on Netflix as you're getting ready to get out. Something to that extent. Just have some fun with it. I know. Either that or you'll be able to plug in a computer or plug in your definitely one more thing. Please bring back clocks in the room. Please. Why did they take out clock radios, alarm clocks into rooms? I don't understand it.
Interesting.
There, I had to say it. But that's
that's odd. I never even thought about that.
Yeah. Oh, one other thing. A couple of small things. One, possibly have some kind of covered or tiered parking. And 2, have parking available for electric vehicle owners.
Oh, now you're just getting bougie on me.
No. You got to understand. Electric vehicles right now are coming to the point where,
they're getting bigger.
They're getting bigger and bigger in the sense of the range and the ability to do road trips and everything else like that. Heck, there is a guy that has a YouTube channel. He just bought a 5-year-old Tesla Model S for $35,000. And the thing still has over a 200-mile range on it on its battery. I can deal with that. I can make it to Disney easy by stopping at certain places on a 200-mile range. I would love to do that. That's a whole different story altogether. But still, I think it's something. By the time our hotels finally get approved, it's going to be a bigger thing. So,
Nicole said she had a clock in both her rooms.
And the funny part is, Nicole, is that my trips last year didn't have a clock, which I just found to be very odd. I know that they took them out for different reasons, and but the thing is like, I like to, when I sleep, I like to roll over. I like to look at the time. I don't want to have to look at my phone or something like that.
I'm kind of scratching my head thinking, I don't remember. You know what it is? At this day and age, I'm just so trained to use my phone for everything, and I wear a watch that I don't really. I'd have to look next time I go.
Well, the funny part is, you remember when at the Hilton Garden Inn that we stayed at didn't have a clock radio that also had USB chargers built into it?
Yes, it was wonderful.
It was wonderful. It's like you and I both plugged in our phones right into the
immediately.
I was like, yay! It's like, that was fabulous. Not to mention we worn out our batteries, bricks, that whole day. That was for Indie Disney Meet, by the way. So, well, I think that's kind of interesting. I mean, no, granted. What other things? Is there anything else that we can theme our rooms to make them absolutely fabulous? I mean, I like what they've been doing with a lot of the renovations. The hardwood floors is a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a lot noisier in the rooms, and it's not. Some people are not liking I'll call it a clean and sterile look at some of the rooms, but I don't think you have half the problems with cleanliness when you have a hardwood floor and you have white sheets, because you see everything and then you can clean it up easier. So,
I respect that.
But Nicole mentions microwaves. I would say microwaves in the suites only that have the ability to, actually have the drains set up for it. Kind of like what they do for DVC resorts.
A drain?
Well, they have larger drains instead of trying to dump a bunch of spaghetti noodles down the sink where you brush your teeth.
Why don't you just throw it away in the garbage?
You and I would think the same way. But we all know that there are people that try to dump crap down the drain. I just
go down the drain. People, you wonder what people do at home.
No. You know what they do? They learn it from they learn it from survival techniques learned in college dorms. Simple as that. But yeah, I mean, I like the idea. It's just one of those. It's one of those things where I really enjoy the idea of having a microwave because sometimes, and this sounds going to sound weird, for like DVC resorts, I have a little omelet maker. I crack an egg, mix it up in there, cook it in there for a couple of minutes, boop, got an omelet. I love it. It's actually really pretty good.
Kevin said use the shower drain. It's much bigger.
Oh my gosh. Honey, why do I need to wash my feet after being in the shower? Because you dumped tomato soup down the drain.
Oh, we have somebody want to know, do we talk about the names of your hotels? We have not.
No, we didn't. And I didn't. Okay. I would. This is going to be lame. Okay, let's just face it. It's a last minute thought. I didn't think about it before. This actually will be kind of lame. I would call mine something like the Hawaiian Escape Hotel or something like that. The Hawaiian Escape Resort, or something semi cheesy. I don't know. That's one thing I didn't think of all day long. I was thinking about this conversation through a good chunk of the day, and I never thought of the name for the room. Oops. Uh-oh, you're thinking.
The Estates. The mansion.
I would say call it Lions. I was going to say call it Lions Estates or something like that, but I'm sure, Universal.
I'm sure someone's got that.
No, well, I was going to say Universal would go, ape over that one because that's like that's a takeaway from the Back to the Future series.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I don't know. That's a tough one. That's not usually my forte of names. We'll get back to it. Maybe tomorrow or by Thursday we'll try to come up with something. The Escape Hotel. Interesting. No. The Escape Hotel. The Escape. Hardy.
Yeah, I like that.
Danny, stop looking up epic hotel names on Google.
I like what Cindy said.
Stop watching my Google trends.
I like what Cindy said. Call mine like Ohana. But then people were like, "Hey, I'm gonna go to Ohana for dinner," and then you're like, "Well, are you going to the Polynesian or are you going to the hotel to one of the restaurants there?" Yeah, unfortunately, that would be a little confusing.
Trisha hits it on the head.
What?
The bougie place. Or the bougie palace.
There you go, the bougie palace. Of course, you realize most people would be like, the bougie.
Where's the bougie? We're going to the bougie.
It's like, does that belong to Mr. Bojangles? Bojangles? Yeah.
Mr. Bojangles introducing himself. Hello, welcome to the hotel. I don't know how to do Mr. Bojangles. I have no idea, but it's like, hey, yeah, welcome to the. You gotta have some really, really, person that has I don't care how old they are. They've got, welcome to the Bougie Hotel. What tier of service do you require today? I'm going to be one of your valley rooms. Okay, well, you can go ahead and grab your luggage over there. Follow me. You grab your own luggage.
Yeah, you grab your own luggage. It's like, well, can I get Bell Sur?
You grab that other family's luggage while you're at it, too.
Yeah, we're a value resort. We're gonna give ourselves a value. You help us.
That's funny.
That's pretty. And if you think that you're gonna get a discount for no housekeeping, guess what? You pay more because
you clean other people's rooms.
Oh yeah, that would be fun.
Oh man, Chris's cozy home hotel.
I like
Sounds like a
that
nice
one.
little bed and breakfast.
It does. If I was a bed and breakfast person, that would be great.
Right. A little B&B.
Yeah, I would probably say it's a Small World theme hotel. No, I would wake up with nightmares.
Yeah. I'd burn that thing down. Remember that whole "don't play with matches"? It's funny, that circle of the show. It always we end it where it started.
Wow,
oh man,
that's good. I don't know how we ended up going full circle in that one. That's
anything else you want to add?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think you need to have. I think for both of our hotels, I think you obviously have to have more than one bus stop. That's just one thing. More than one bus stop. But I also think it would be cool to have a minivan lane as well as an Uber lane. So that, you know exactly where your minivan's going to pick you up. You know exactly where your Uber or Lyft is going to pick you up. That way there's no question, especially for people who are new to the services. That's just
okay.
I was always concerned about that when I very first used Uber. And it ended up being very easy. Being where I was at, but that's one of the Jawas hotel. No, but that's pretty funny. That is actually really cool. Oh, Nicole. What about a San Fran Tokyo themed hotel? Make it super high tech with a Jap anime themed. I like that. We'll have to build on that one later. I like that one. A Big Hero 6 kind of theme, but not like directly tied in. Do Mickey as I got it, Danny. I got it. We have, and this is probably for next time, but what about a hotel kind of like Art of Animation where you have buildings and sections that are based upon certain characters' themes? Have a resort that's based upon other themes from the other Disney parks. In other words, one, you would have the San Fran Tokyo type themed, definitely.
From other parks outside of Disney World.
Yeah, like other international parks.
Okay.
Like you would have one that would have a French flair to it for Disneyland Paris. You have one that would be definitely Japanese. You would have one that would be Asian. You would have your Alani section. You would have your beach section to go along with even Vero Beach. You would have one that would be a little more kicked back, very much like, say, Hilton Head Island. You would have all these different themes based upon the cultures of other Disney resorts. That would actually be kind of interesting.
Okay. I actually could dig that.
It would be kind of
I could
cool.
dig that. A nice Disney Sea theme. I could dig that. I like that.
Yeah, I like that idea. And see, we think of this after a day back from work, after a long weekend, and our brains are toasted. Not too bad. So, do we have some questions that our listeners wanted to throw out there? I almost said throw up there, but that didn't sound right. Danny's kind of scrolling through the comments really quick. He can really do it a lot better than me.
There's more things we answered. Just Christine was really the only one to ask the question, so we'll do that and we'll end it on this. Since what we were talking about, let's base it off of. I was thinking earlier, if you could choose any movie, be it Disney or not, to make another world, what movie would it be? Mine would be Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So I'm assuming when you mean world, you're speaking of like another land.
Another gate. That fifth gate theory.
Well, parking will not be free at my resort. You charge double. No. Standard parking rates.
Steady parking rates apply. Yeah, and actually, you have to park if you're in the value section, you have to park other people's car for them. And if you're not good, you get to, if you're not good, you get to have your keys put up on a wall, and then anybody else can go ahead and take your car for a ride.
Just take your car out for a ride. I mean, we've always talked about that fifth gate being a villain themed gate. But since I just did so much on villains,
it seems to come back to that sort of thing, though, doesn't it? It seems like anytime that we talk about that fifth gate, it always comes back to the whole, Dark Kingdom or something to that extent. And
it doesn't even have to be a gate. She's saying like Pandora, so a mini world. I see what you were going with. But you're right. We always go back to the theme.
But still, I think a lot of people would love to see that sort of thing. That's actually really kind of tough. What do you think?
I'd like to see like a Godfather theme. It just wouldn't go with Disney, but she said it doesn't have to be Disney. Does it have to be kid friendly?
Well,
we didn't specify these things.
That's interesting.
Maybe it's got to be kid friendly. I mean, they're making Toy Story, so that takes that one out. Oh, man. I would like to see a Zootopia.
Well, you've been talking about that for a while, and I think that's I think that's a great idea myself. I mean, the whole concept of Zootopia would still fit in absolutely fabulous within Animal Kingdom. I totally get it. I also like Nicole's idea, an American version of Disney Sea. In fact, to tell you the truth, I mean, I think they can do a Disney Sea type of thing over at Animal Kingdom relatively easy. I think that would be actually really super cool. I really like that idea. I also, because I know they still have land over at Animal Kingdom. They can do it easily, and I would probably say, what's my choice? I'm kind of thinking and talking. It's not really working.
Stephen King themed land.
You see, I am not the biggest Stephen King fan. Let me rephrase that. I'm not a big horror book reader type of thing. I don't really. That's just not my style.
My hotel should have a people mover. If you stay on, all right, adding it in. If you stay at a moderate, you get a doom buggy, and if you stay at the top level, we're gonna widen the hallways, and it's not gonna be a people mover. You're gonna get a gold-plated Cadillac golf cart to drive you to your room. Done. Got you, people. I got you.
I'm pretty impressed. I'm really impressed. I'm having a hard time because it's like all the different movies I really like are already somewhat represented. And like some of my other favorite movies are like movies from the 80s that would probably fit better in a Universal Studios than anywhere else, to be very, very honest with you.
Well, she said it doesn't have to be.
I know, but it's like, I know.
National Treasure Land, that would be awesome, Aaron.
Either National Treasure or even like
Indiana Jones, but we know that's probably coming.
That's probably coming. National Treasure, I think, would be really, really good. I also would probably say...
Kevin also said the retro land rides that are long gone. We've talked about that.
We've talked about that in the past, and I think that would actually be really cool. I think you can bring some of those rides back, plus them, and have some really super cool attractions. Yeah. Suicide Squad theme. Yeah, okay, I could. That would actually be that'd just be some funny. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Make a Deadpool themed land.
I'm so sad I didn't get to see it. I'm hopefully going to see it this weekend. I've heard wonderful things,
and I did not get a chance to see Solo this past weekend.
I figured.
I just haven't had the time. I mean, man, I was thinking to myself, oh, we'll go sometime Monday. Dude, it was so hot outside. I didn't want to leave my house.
Black Mirror.
Oh, now you've got my attention.
Make that a land.
Oh my gosh, take into consideration. I'm hooked on that show. Oh my gosh, you haven't watched it yet?
Oh yeah.
Oh, have you watched all 4 seasons?
Yeah, 2 days after it came out, I binge watched it and it was done.
Oh my gosh.
When's the new one come out?
I don't know, but I watched season 4 first. Now I started doing season 3, and a couple of those in season 3 I was like, "Oh my gosh." That would actually be really tripping. Oh my gosh.
Nick wins tonight.
What's that?
If you stay at the value area of your resort, you have to take the Tomorrowland Speedway car to your room. It will bounce back and forth just like the track on the It's banging at everybody's door. Sorry, I can't control it.
Nick, I love it. You have to
Ow! Sorry, it just kicked my desk. Oh, it's so painful.
Well, you would say ow if after riding in one of those Speedway cars, because so that was totally appropriate.
Oh man.
Oh my gosh. Well,
sorry.
It's
all right.
It's as we kind of get ready to get out of here. It's one of those cases where I really enjoy these things. We're going to make armchair Imagineering kind of not a common theme. We're going to make it, a regular part of our show because we've had so much fun with it. And I hope you guys have had fun with it too. And I'll be honest with you, if you want us to armchair Imagineer something, drop us a line over at the Behind the Ears Podcast Facebook page, over at the WDW community page, or drop us a line over at, Behind the Ears Podcast at gmail.com. What kind of thing would you like for us to Imagineer? There are no limits. So with that being said, you heard the show, and we hope you want more. Well, feel free to join us over at our social media platforms. Instagram and our Facebook page can be found at Behind the Ears Podcast. Our webpage is behindtheearspodcast.net, and our email is behindtheearspodcast@gmail.com. And our Twitter handle is @BehindTheEarsPC. And come and join the conversation about all things Disney over at the WDW community page. Don't forget to rate and review the show over at iTunes or Apple Podcasts, as it really helps us get the word out about the show. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the show on iTunes or Apple Podcasts or the Podbean app. Also, you can listen to us on Stitcher Radio, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, and via Alexa and Google Home.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us here on another live episode of Behind the Ears Podcast. We hope you all had a wonderful Memorial Day. Thanks for joining us here, like Chris said, on the little fun exit wrap. Follow us on all our social media platforms. Keep sharing, keep loving, keep showing up. We'll keep doing it. I'm Uncle Danny. Deuces.
And I'm Mr. Chris. Hey, thanks again for joining us. And for those of you who join us live, don't worry. I'll go ahead and answer some of your questions, comments from the comment section, most likely after the show or even tomorrow during my lunch break. Yeah. So until we meet again, though, I want to just give a big thank you to all of you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of the show. Thank you for being a part of our community. And until we meet again, we hope you have a magical day. Take care.